Hi there, my name is Mihai and today I'll talk about Python web framework. It's 2021 and everybody loves Python. No, seriously, Python could be the Captain America of the Avengers if there would be such a comparison. But why wouldn't you love it? It is great for beginners, it has lots of modules with amazing support from the community, and it's open source. Also, it is widely used from desktop application to web services, and it's really popular with deep learning and machine learning apps. As stated before, Python is widely used for web development as well. There are lots of frameworks, but we'll discuss only some of the major players. But what is a web framework? It is a collection of modules or packages that helps you build an application. So it's up to you to concentrate only on the website's functionalities and not on the low-level processes. For example, you don't need to focus on what's happening behind an HTTP request, you just need to pass the payload information and it's done. Of course, the framework also provides more powerful tools to help you build and maintain your app. Here we could talk about automatic documentation of your API, database migrations, and many more. There are three major categories of web frameworks in Python, and we will choose one of each in our debate. Of course, there is no black and white here. This framework fits me 100% and the others don't. All of them can be adapted to your needs, but some just fit better. For the first one, I choose to talk about full-stack frameworks. Full-stack frameworks provide you the tools to build both back-end and front-end functionalities. By far, Django is the most used full-stack framework. Secondly, widely used are also micro-frameworks. As the name suggests, they are lightweight frameworks that do not provide all the functionalities that a full-stack framework provides. You would mainly use this if you are also implementing a front-end client. For example, the UI is in React. Of course, you can achieve all that Django does, but it's obvious it will take a lot more time. But if you choose this type of framework, then you probably do not need all of that. As our main contender here, we will use Flask. I know there are lots of frameworks out there, but Flask is by far the most used and the most documented. Please be free to contradict me in the comments. Last but not least, we tackle asynchronous frameworks. There was always a need for asynchronous communication in web servers, but from Python 3.5 this became a native functionality. This means that the implementation of concurrency in Python is now easy peasy. As our main contender here, we will use FastAPI. But wait, what? I know, FastAPI is really new, but it gained massive popularity really fast, and it's super similar to Flask in its syntax. So let's talk about them. I consider Django to be the Iron Man of the frameworks. It is really fancy and has a tool for everything. It is, as they market it, the web framework for perfectionists with deadlines. I'm not saying Django isn't fast, but what's the fastest thing about it is the development cycle. It was designed to take applications from development to deployment in no time. If you are looking to generate a user interface really fast, then Django is your choice. One of the most powerful tools in Django is the automatic admin interface. It reads the metadata of your database models and provides an interface where you can easily manage your resources in a trusted way. It is not recommended to build your entire front-end around it, but it is possible. What I also love about it is the ability to create database migrations in seconds using Python.5 as you do for everything else. Do you need to build APIs? Don't worry, it is a powerful and flexible toolkit designed to build web APIs. It has lots of documentation and community support, so it will be really easy to integrate in your project. Of course, there's a lot more about Django, and it's all there out of the box for you to enjoy. Things like user authentication or content administration are available and ready to use. Flask is probably the most used micro-framework, and it is understandable. It was designed to be easy to use and very easy to extend. It provides you a strong foundation from where you can build your application. Of course, after that it's up to you to add the extensions you need. But don't worry, you have plenty of options to choose from. The documentation is really impressive and the community is huge. If you need to do something and you don't know how to do it, it's alright. It was probably done before and you'll find an example on the web. Indeed, that's the charm of having a great community. It does not provide the database abstraction layer, but you can choose the library to use. If you use PostgreSQL or Cassandra or Mongo or anything else, there will be a library to fit your needs. Everybody heard how powerful SQL Alchemy is as an object relational mapper, but there's also PyMongo or Flask SQL Alchemy out there for you to use. It is easy to implement RESTful APIs in Flask, but if you need support, there's also a library for that. It is a really good choice in the context of microservices, and it is really easy to deploy. After all, it is VCGI compliant. Ever heard someone say, why would you implement a backend service in Python? It is way slower than the other technologies. While that was true, it's time to put an end to the nonsense. Welcoming our Flash, aka FastAPI, a real contender to Node.js and Go. And it also supports asynchronous communication. How cool is that? It is quite new, I have to admit, but it gains more and more popularity every day. Some charts say that it climbed up on the popularity podium next to Flask and Django. There's a reason why Microsoft, Uber or Netflix started using it. If your service has lots of I/O operations, then this is the framework to choose. It will spare your worker the block time thanks to the coroutine implementation, and it will be able to handle another request in the meantime. This will lower your need for horizontal scaling of your app. Also, there are object relational mappers that support async operation to the database. So if you have really complex queries, then this might help you as well. The syntax is really similar to Flask, and it's really easy to set up a new working service in no time. It also has data validation using Python type annotations thanks to Pydantic. It enforces type hints at runtime and provides user-friendly errors if the data is invalid. One more cool thing about it is the automatic generation of the API documentation. All you have to do is go to /docs and the info is there. Another thing that might interest you is Fast API acting like a middleware to Flask. Let's say you decided to migrate your application from Flask to Fast API. What you can do first is set up Fast API as a middleware to Flask and then migrate one endpoint at a time, or only migrate the endpoints that need the async operation. You will have a hybrid of the two frameworks with minimum performance loss. Well, then what framework should you choose? This depends entirely on what you need to build and what are the requirements for that system. Is there an overall clear winner? No, but no loser either. Do you need a really fast system? Then you should go with Fast API or Flask. Benchmarks like Tech Empower provides us the information to solidify this. Do you need to build a robust full-stack application? Then it's clear Django is your choice here, due to the admin interface it provides and all the extra packages it has to ease up your work. There is no clear line between Flask and Fast API if you plan to implement microservices. But if your app is not really CPU bound, I would go with Fast API. Otherwise, Flask is still the more mature one, with better documentation and a greater community. Also, deploying Fast API in a serverless approach might not be as straightforward as for Flask and Django. Do you agree with this? What's your favorite framework and why? Please let us know in the comments.